Hello, good morning, every single person. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and it's such a joy to come your way. And a big thank you to every single person that is joining me live. And for those that will join thereafter or watch afterwards, thank you so much for always being there. Thank you for being a part of the story of Knox to Nuggets. Thank you so much. So, this month of June, we celebrate fathers. But before I go into that, yesterday was particularly amazing as we celebrated my mother. I'm so proud to be a daughter in the house as Bishop Peace Okonkwo marked her 70th birthday yesterday. It was an awesome weekend, actually, starting off with a worship service. And yesterday was the climax of the Thanksgiving. You could literally feel the presence of God as he himself honored his daughter. Thank God for your life, Big Mommy. Thank you for all you do for humanity. Truly, we love, we celebrate you, even on Knock to Nuggets, because you are one person praying for me. Thank you so much. So, back to fathers. Last week, we had the children talk about the expectation of fathers, and it was interesting that the father is the priest, is the role model, he provides, he loves, he takes care of the family, is the counselor, is the communicator, and it creates a relationship. And they had so much to say about fathers. But today I have a dear friend, pastor, a man of God indeed in the house. And we're taking us further as we look at the role of fathers in this 21st century. And with me in the house this beautiful morning is a friend, like I said, a brother, a pastor, and is no other person, of course, a dad, quarter to becoming a granddad. I'm sure he's smiling backstage. I can see him laughing. Whether he likes it or not is happening. Daddies and their daughters, whether you like it or not, they are marrying. So receive with me on the Knox to Nuggets platform this morning, Pastor Femi Megbope. Hey, good
Morning.
to have you.
It's a pleasure
Thank
being
you
here this
so much.
morning. And how are you?
I need some more volume from you.
Wow, wow.
Yes, I
Okay,
need you
God will
to.
help us.
Yes, it will help us. I know you're a perfect gentleman. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on this show. Now, I want to start
Thank
off
you
with
for
a chat I
inviting me.
got from somebody, and I want to read it. So I'm just going to look for that chat very quickly and read it. Um, he listened to the chat about with the children talking about their dads, and it
Yeah,
says, father's relationship with children has really improved these days. It says children are more knowledgeable, bolder, more emotional, and sensitive in this age. It said my dad was like a demigod. We used to fear him more than respect him when we were growing up. He said, but when he gave his life to Christ, he became simple and friendly. So, but for me, I'm close to my children, especially the girls. I'm firm and friendly with them, depending on the circumstances. So I'm taking you back on it. Said my dad was like a demigod, but today, children are more knowledgeable, bolder, more emotional, and sensitive in this age. So, how do you deal with this in this age? Coming from our own generation, where the word of your father is the word of God, cannot be questioned.
praise God. Good morning.
Morning.
Um, that comment is real.
Mm.
And when I was thinking of what to say here, my mind went back to my own upbringing. My dad was there, and his word was law. We couldn't question it. We just obeyed. And even though some things he said or did were not right, he just accepted it.
Wow.
But when I was to become a father, I said to myself, the things I experienced that were not too good, I will ensure that my children don't experience the same thing. So from the onset, we were deliberate about having an open house where
Mm.
everybody is free to express themselves. and don't feel guilty for expressing yourself. So I made sure that I was going to be friends with my children from the word go, because I mean that was the only way I could be a part of their lives and them part of mine. So
Mm.
now being a father, I have learned to strike a balance of knowing when
Mm.
to be hard, when to be friendly, and when to be quiet.
Mm.
I mean, being friendly doesn't make you less of who you are as a father or as a man. Being friendly
Mm.
with your children opens them up to you. They'll be free to relate with you. But the balance is if you're too friendly, they may see you as friends and not take what you're saying too seriously.
Aha. Aha.
So you
Mm-hmm.
must learn to strike a balance, be friendly, but you're not my friend. I
Mm.
can relate
Mm.
with you, I can be friends with you, I can talk to you freely, but when I need to be firm and hard on you, I will do that without any apologies. So
Mm.
I, by the grace of God, I've learned to achieve that over the years. So I'm friendly with my children, even their friends, but they know that I'm not friends with them. So they
Mm.
don't
There's a difference.
overstep the bounds. There's a difference. Our fathers were not friendly, so we could not approach them. But now we have to be friendly with our children because, I mean, they're exposed to so much today. In our
Mm.
days, there was no internet.
No.
Information wasn't as available as it is now. Knowledge
No.
was limited, so to speak. But
Yeah.
now, your children can go to anybody and ask any
Mm.
question, and they will get
Mm.
any answer, either right
Mm.
or wrong. So if you're friendly with them, they'll be free with you. I mean, the culture here in our home is, hey, you can say what you want, but if you're overstepping your bounds, you can be put in line.
Mm.
That is the culture we have deliberately established. The
Deliberately.
children know it. Well, are they children now? Well, our son is 28, the son is 26. So they're no longer children, but they've grown up to know this. Our parents are our friends, so to speak, but we know where to draw the line. So that's just it. Be friendly
Wow.
with
You
them,
know
but
what?
don't,
Don't be
yeah,
their friend. That is
yeah,
huge. Many of us don't know how to draw that line. So we go from one extreme of not being their friends to the other extreme of being their friends and indeed their footmat. But there got to be that balance
yeah,
because children also want someone that they know he knows what he wants and knows how to get
yeah,
it. Now, let's talk about when they're growing up. There's this thing about fathers and daughters. Is this something that clicks from the moment the child is? I mean, what's this thing about fathers and daughters? I hear it all the time. So you are the father. What's this thing about fathers and daughters?
Ah, it can be explained. That's the truth. It can be explained. For me, like you said earlier, I'll soon be a grandfather by the grace of God. My daughter is getting married soon, or our daughter is getting married soon. And I believe right from the tender age, the need to be protective of her was there.
Mm,
Even though she's the second born, Korede is the firstborn. Korede is the man, so to speak. And Bisola is the I would say weaker vessel. She needs to be protected. She needs to be affirmed. She needs to know what it is to relate with a man. She needs to know how to relate with a man.
mm,
And, it's just being there to affirm her, to get her to believe more in you and in herself. Because if, as a father, you don't affirm your daughter, not only will she go for affirmation elsewhere, that bond won't be there. There's the part of the mother in raising up the daughter, but there's a part of the father in raising a daughter.
Mm.
The father gives the, can I put it now? The affection, the love, the attention that other men may want to give outside.
Mm.
And if she cannot get it at home and she gets it outside, she will be open to abuse.
Mm.
So that bond was created from a very tender age and has been nurtured over the years. So now Bisola looks out for me as much as I look out for her. That bond is there. Not that he's my husband, but just as somebody that I need to care for.
Mm.
That womanly part of me is just
Mm.
reaching out to care for him and to look out for him. And if this bond was not created at a very tender age, it can be done now.
Hmm.
So the bonding starts from from the tender age, really. I mean,
That's interesting.
raising up
That's interesting.
raising her up, I did everything like my wife did. Changed her pampers, bathed her, took her to school, made her lunch, dressed her. I mean, so I was part of her life from a
Wow.
tender age. So it's like, what can anybody else tell me or give me that my dad has not given?
Mm.
What can anybody else tell me that dad has not told me?
Mm.
If it's love, my dad loves me. Is it material things? My dad doesn't deny me.
Mm.
Is it friendship? My dad is there.
Mm.
But that bond was formed from a very, very tender age and it's still being nurtured now. So it is important that fathers especially give time for their daughters
Wow.
because there's a part of
Wow.
them that needs that affirmation. And if they don't get
Affirmation.
it from you, they'll get it from elsewhere. So a father that affirms his daughter, I mean, that bond is there for life. For life. Whether she's in Australia, when she gets married and has children. I mean, there are times now when my wife comes home late by the virtue of what she does, and Bisola is at home. I mean, she sees the way I look. Daddy, are you hungry? I don't need to say a word. I mean, she has known me to that extent. Daddy, are you okay? So that bond is there, and it was formed from a very tender age. So affirm your daughters, be part of their lives, and you get the best of her, and she'll get the best of you.
Affirm. Now I see the father-daughter thing. But it's so true. What you don't give to them at home, they will look for outside. And that's why you
Yeah,
also have the mother-son thing. And it's so
yeah.
important that we get involved in the lives of our children. But Pastor Femi, somebody says to me, I'm busy. I don't have the time. I can't be there to do all of this. What would be your advice to the person?
My advice would be this: God gave you a gift,
Mm.
and if you don't have time to nurture or to appreciate that gift, somebody else will appreciate the gift.
Wow.
Parenting is intentional.
Mm.
Is intentional. I mean, when we were getting married, Martha and I established some, I won't say ground rules now. We said to ourselves, we won't have a house help for one day. Nobody will live with us. All this we said deliberately, knowing that it will cost us something. So in the midst of the busy schedule, we had to make time deliberately for these children. There were times when I had to go and pick them from school while she was busy. Was it convenient? wasn't, I mean, it was a sacrifice. There are times I had to stay back at home. Was it convenient? It was a sacrifice. It's something that must be done intentionally. I mean, a lot of parents today, for the virtue of what I'm a pastor, I talk to children and parents, and most children today believe that their fathers and mothers believe that money can take the place of their attention.
Mm.
If a child has a challenge, you just throw money at it. Let money go and solve it. But the child
Mm.
is crying out for you. If it's just 5 minutes you can
Mm.
create for them, let it be quality 5 minutes. Not that I'm giving you 5 minutes, please hurry up. I don't have much time. The
Mm.
children know how things are really. But if in the midst of your schedule you can create time for them, they will value it and appreciate it so much. So no time
Mm.
is too short or too little to give to your children. Yes, Lagos
Mm.
is a tough place to live in. You leave the house early, come home late. But during the day, do you put your call through to the children when they're back from school? How are you doing? How was school today? Do you get
Mm.
up early to be part of their lives before they go to school? Or even late
Mm.
at night, when you come back and you're tired, can you just spare 5 minutes or even 10 to ask how the day went and just bond with them? So money is not a substitute. Busyness is not a substitute. It must be intentional. Even at weekends. What do we do at weekends? Most
Exactly.
times, daddy goes to play golf. Mommy goes to the salon to make hair. They come back, they're tired. Sunday, we're in church. But the weekends, you can create time, family time, be intentional about it.
Mm.
Let
Mm. Mm.
them look forward to spending time with you at the weekends. Even if it's on Sunday after church, go out for lunch. It doesn't have to be something expensive. It can just be, well, no leftovers or something. just create that time. You can buy suya and just come home as a family, sit down, gist, let the children feel you. If it's just 5 minutes they can feel every day, it goes a long way.
Mm.
Money doesn't show love. Time
Mm.
shows love.
Hmm. Money doesn't show love. Time shows love. That's just an amazing statement. And I pray every single man out there and woman hears this. Money doesn't show love. Time does. Yes, I hear that. Somebody said no leftovers. Pay for the advert. No leftover is our own.
It surely
That's where to
is.
go to have a sumptuous meal. So, you know, many times when we talk about parenthood, many times unconsciously, what we are thinking of is motherhood. Because when we talk about parents, somehow we just see the man as the money maker and the woman as the children maker without too many words. But I hear you that we must be intentional. I hear you, money doesn't show love, time does. We're in a time and a season, Reverend Pastor Femi, where child abuse is so prevalent. Even some mothers are getting so, should I say naive now or what? That they're just so scared of the society, so scared of the guy next door, so scared of even the house helps around. How does the man help to find a balance in this world? That's where we have found ourselves.
And it's a very tough place to be as parents because we tend to live so much to house helps. We live so much to family members. We live so much to third parties that we sometimes neglect, or should I say, we shy away from my own responsibilities. You know, Bible says that when God created man, God put man in the garden to tend and to keep.
Mm,
Tending is intentional.
Mm.
A lot of parents expect the children to come to them, even fathers. But when you tend something, you are the one to go to that thing. That thing won't come to you. So you are the one to go to that thing. And as much as you can, open that thing up and see what is going on inside. By talking to them, having conversations with them, knowing your children, knowing when something has gone off, and being able to attend to it. I mean, if a child is being abused, the signs are there, but most times we don't see it. I was talking to a parent the other day in church, and she said, "Pastor, my daughter just started behaving funny, started getting aggressive, using foul language, and said something is going on there. Have you taken time to to be? Have you taken time to talk to her and ask her what is going on? Not that ask what is going on. Who has been talking to you? Who has been playing rough with you?"
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the mother came back and we can say, "Pastor, truly something had been going on. It wasn't abuse physically, but it was like more verbal."
Hmm.
So as a father, you have oversight over the house. You have over your wife, over your children. And it is your responsibility to prayerfully ask God to open your eyes to what's going on. Understand that not all of us on this platform are Christians, but there's a part of the man that God expects the man to oversee a lot of things and not overlook a lot of things.
Hmm.
So
Oversee, don't
signs will
overlook.
be there. Signs will be there. And don't ignore these signs. Even if it is in
Hmm.
school and your child just suddenly comes up quiet and withdrawn, what's going on here? Is there, I mean, are you being bullied? Who was hard on you in school? What did your teacher say? What did your friends say? So we need to have an oversight in a lot of areas and not just overlook things.
Hmm.
The role of the father is
Oversee.
important. Yeah.
Hmm. Thank you. Oversee, don't overlook. And that goes for every one of us. Even us mothers, oversee, don't overlook. Wow, that's interesting. So let's come to school and career. What's the role of the father in choosing, in guiding, in helping a child find her, his or her choice of career?
I like the words you use, not choose, but to guide. I mean, we had an experience with Korede, our son. Korede, from a tender age, loved art. He loved to draw and anything to do with craft. He was passionate about it. I'm an engineer by qualification. My father-in-law is an engineer. So we just assumed that Korede must also toe that line. And secondary school was an art, science student. He did well, passed his WAEC, flying colors, JAM, was no stress. So he got admission to Covenant University to do civil engineering. But the first semester, he did well. And then his grades started dropping. Korede was struggling, but he could not say he was struggling. Why?
Oh.
Because my father wants me to be an engineer. My
Mm.
grandfather says I must be an engineer and take off from
Mm.
where they both left off. So the pressure on him was much. His grades were dropping drastically. And it got to a point he had to leave Covenant University, which was very painful after 3 years. I mean, not even the money spent, but the emotional pain on him alone. So we said, okay, Korede, now that Covenant is out of the picture, what do you want to do? He said, okay, we'll send you abroad. Just go and cool off for a bit. Think of what you want to do next. What whatever course you want to let us know. And he said, the first thing he said was, must I do engineering? That's the first question he asked. I said, Korede, no, you mustn't do what you want to do. So like a load was lifted off him. So he went to the US, found a school of his choice, the course of his choice, he enrolled. And he said, Korede, make your own choices and God will help us to pay. And from the first semester, he was on the dean's list. All through his course, he was, an A student. Today, Korede is doing graphics and arts and all that. And there's so many words he used for today and animation and all that. Korede is happy and is fried and is flying. And I asked myself, what if I had forced him to do engineering? He would have stayed, would have done 4 years, and then abandoned the engineering and then chose his career. So we have learned, even though it was a hard one, that we can't force these children to do what we want them to do. As parents, God gave them to us to take care of on his behalf. It's for us to ask God, what is the blueprint? And then interpret the blueprint by guiding these children the way God wants them to go. God has a plan for each one of them. It is for us to help them to identify and to guide and not to force. We may force them if we get to a point where they'll either break or they will rebel. And either way, it's not the best. So that is how we learned. So with Bisola, what do you want to do? I want to do microbiology. Are you sure? Yes. She enrolled. She went through Covenant without stress. Without stress. It was her choice. Without stress, she enjoyed it. When she graduated, Bisola, what next? I want to go into supply chain management. But what has that got to do with microbiology? She said, along the line, they will jam somewhere. But for now, this is what I want to do. So we're encouraging her along that path right now. We can't force. We can do
Huge lesson.
That is our own life experience.
Huge lesson. And thank you for sharing your experience. Yeah.
Let me come in here. When Korede was in Covenant and he was struggling, even though he didn't tell us, he found attention and solace in dancing. So while he was there, he found comfort and joy dancing. And it was like a relief for him. But then we did not know what was going on. We thought it was just a passion for him. But it was a way of expressing expressing himself. So when it came to studies, he was when it came to dancing,
everywhere.
So we must see these things and know how to interpret some things and guide them accordingly.
We must see these things, know how to interpret them and guide them appropriately, because we must be overseers, not overlookers. I won't forget that in a hurry. Thank you so much, Pastor Femi. So let me take you to another level. Dealing with those children and their friends. And their friends. So when the friend, not S, the friend starts showing up, what should the parents do?
What should the parents do?
Particularly when the girl child is bringing in the friend. What does the daddy boyfriend do? The daddy who's been protective, who's been the ego. What does he do when the friend starts showing up?
The daddy has to step aside. It's tough. I talking about Bisola now. Bisola is a friendly person, and she makes friends easily.
Yeah.
But one thing we put in them is that have friends that share the same values as you do.
Mm.
No matter
Value.
the economic situation in their home, the values must be at sync with yours as much as possible. So we told them that from a very tender age. So they knew that they cannot just bring anybody home. And anybody they brought home, we knew that these were their friends, either male or female. So when Bisola was to bring the friend home now, I mean, we had, I mean, she was free to bring home any friend, either male or female. I mean, her past relationships we were aware of. We didn't interfere. We just guided and oversaw what they were doing. So when she now brought the friend home now, like you said, I was a bit skeptical. But
Mm.
she went to her mommy, and mommy, I want to bring a friend home. Said, okay, for you to have said this friend must be a special person because you've never said this before. So we said, okay, bring him home. I mean,
Mm.
you know what we believe, you know what to stand for. I mean, not that you won't just bring home anybody. So when the friend came home, I mean, being the man, I was a bit, standoffish. Let me size him up from a distance and just see what he's all about. I mean, how can I nurture my daughter for 25 years and then one stranger come and just carry her like that and mess up all the
Yeah.
investments? So I stood back about just watching. I watched him, I watched her, I watched the mommy's reaction. And I saw that this guy, okay, the values are in sync. He's a Christian, yes, but that doesn't mean that the values are the same.
Hmm. Hmm. True.
That is where a lot of us, that we're all Christians, but do we all have the same values? So, I mean, as time
Mm.
went on, I studied the guy, well, I studied him, not the guy now, I studied him. I got to know him for who he was. And I just warmed up. So I said, okay, I am happy to commit my daughter to you.
Hmm.
And we're friendly. And I mean, he's free to talk to me about anything. I'm like a father figure to him now because I created
Mm.
that room for him to be free with me. So
Mm.
that's just, I mean, it's something we must accept. We can't fight it. You
Hmm.
can't marry your
Hmm.
daughter.
True.
Somebody must marry her. So just pray that the best person that God has will come. And that when the
Hmm.
person comes, they'll both know and they won't, what's the word, misappropriate the friendship, so to say.
Mm. Mm.
So that's
Mm.
just it. I mean, Samuel is a pleasant guy and we thank God for it. We thank God for
Hmm.
it. So as a
Thank
father,
you.
know when to step aside because I mean, Bisola said something to us a long time ago. I think I'll say this here. I think about 3 years ago, she wanted to go out with her friends, and we said, Bisola, you know we trust you, blah 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 blah. Don't go and do what we wouldn't do. You know you're a Christian. And Bisola's face changed. She got angry, and we knew that we had said something that had upsetted Bisola. So she went for the weekend, and when she came back, she said, "Mommy, I don't have the meeting with you."
Hmm.
And when she summoned us, my wife and I looked at each other and we sat down. We said, "What is she going to say now?" She said, "Thank God for." I mean, she gave us a wonderful opening speech. Thank God for you and mommy. Thank God for what you've done. But I want to ask you a question. You have 2 children. You said yes. You said your son is in the US. You said yes. You said, "Are you sure?" You said yes. Okay, where in the US is he? You said Atlanta. Are you sure? You said yes. What is he doing right now? We said we don't. We said exactly. I've heard this trust speech since I was in
Hmm.
primary school. All through secondary, I heard it. Through covenant, I heard it. Now that I'm a graduate, don't you trust me or don't you believe that you've put enough in me to do the right thing. Ah,
Hmm.
Pastor Yomi, it was
Hmm.
like Martha said, God help us. We missed it here. She said, you've taught me. So when are you going to begin to trust me?
Hmm.
That day, they said, truly, God, we hand over to you. So when she
Hmm.
brought the friend home, we trusted her judgment.
Hmm. Hmm. That is deep. That I had to write it down. When you teach, you can trust. So
Yeah,
you have taught me. Why not trust me? So you laid the foundation clear. So the
yeah,
children knew the values. There's a word that kept coming up almost throughout this conversation, and it's the word intentional. Be deliberate. It does not just happen. It does not just fall down like Bishop Mike would say, like on you, like a bag of cherries. No, you've got to be intentional about it. You will be able to trust without judgment when you have thought ahead of time. While our
yeah,
time is fast spent, Pastor Femi, you've been amazing talking to you. I've not exhausted yet, but let me ask you this before I take your final word.
yeah.
As your children go through school, they go through go through life as a whole, not just school. They go through the various stages of life. As a father, how do you help instill the values you want? We talked about values, we talked about being intentional, we've talked about being deliberate. My question is the how. What do you do? What do you need to do to ensure you get this out? I found out, sir, that life is on principles. If
Yeah.
I can replicate your principles, I will get the same results. So I can copy principles, I cannot copy results. Tell us the how. How are you able to build in these values?
Uh, Spending time with the children. I mean, something just came to mind now. When Crowder was in primary school, they had an assignment to build a car out of nothing, from scraps and everything. So that day, he came home from school and we sat down together to think of how to build this car. So we looked for scrap, cardboard, broomsticks, bottle tops, and everything. And we built this car together.
Hmm.
So when he got to school the following day, his friends also brought their own cars. And when Grode's car was put beside the other children's cars, it was like, I mean, it looked so disgusting, so to speak. And what happened was these children's parents paid somebody to build these cars for the children. But Korede and I built the car together. So when he came home dejected and I said, Korede, why are you so unhappy? He said, but my friends' cars were destroyed. They said, look, your friends' cars were not built by their parents. They paid somebody. But we built this together. I'm not just telling you what to do. I'm showing you how to do things.
Hmm.
And the moment he understood that message, that was it. He studied me and still studying me. We do things together. We do together maybe once or twice, and then he knows what to do. Right now, he was talking to his mother the other day. He said, Mommy, I'm just surprised that I do things the way my daddy does it. I talk the way he talks, even the way I gesticulate like he does it. I just laughed. I said, well, Crowder, it's not by accident.
Hmm.
These things, I didn't just teach you, I modeled you. I
Model.
mean, you've seen how I relate with your mother, how I hug, and I show her affection, how we kiss, not the sloppy kiss now, but I've shown you how to love your wife, I've shown you how to
Mm.
I've shown you how to relate with your wife. I've shown you how to relate with your daughter based on how you see me handle Bisola. So these things I've not just told you, I have shown you.
Mm.
So now that he's 28 now, he's stepping into his own. The things that we did together are now
He's
making
not.
meaning to him. Same thing with Bisola. So it's like, don't just talk, walk the
Mm.
talk with them. Let them see you do it.
Mm.
There's
Mm.
some things that he didn't say, he just saw me do, and he's doing the same. And some things that
Mm.
you shouldn't do, well, for example, I've told him because there's a way you stand that is confrontational. Don't stand like this, otherwise you provoke a negative reaction. He never understood until the day it happened to him.
Mm.
So he said, this is what daddy was saying. So just do things together with them. Don't just talk. Walk the talk with them. Hold their hands and then let them go.
Hmm. Wow. Hold their hands and let them grow. I can keep on and on. I've got to let you go. I know your time is quite busy. It's a Monday morning, even though it's a public holiday here, but there's still so much to do. Pastor Femi, your final words, as I would excuse you for the moment because I will come back to you some other time. So your final words for today.
My final words for fathers, every parent, be intentional.
Hmm.
Be intentional. It will cost you something, but the rewards are much greater than the price you pay now. Be intentional and don't leave anything to chance. God bless.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Pastor Femi, for coming on this program. Thank you so much for adding value to every single person. I've taken notes. I kept jotting as you were talking because you've added so much value, so many things to learn from you. Thank you so much. And like I say, I will come again. But for now, thank you
I'll
and
be,
God
I'll
bless
be
you.
waiting. I'll be
Thank
waiting.
you.
Thank you, Majesty.
Enjoy the rest
God
of the
bless.
day and the week. Thank you
And
very
you.
much. Wow, that was Pastor Femi, and that was huge. That was being real. I'm so excited he accepted this call. He came, he was vulnerable, he could share from his own story, and we could learn from him. And he said so much. And I totally appreciate him for coming. And I know everybody here has learned something. Like I always say, please like this video, share it, let somebody know out there that there's something called Knocks to Nuggets on air. Next week, Monday, I'll be bringing back a friend who will be talking to us about developing the potential in children. Is a friend, is a coach, is a mentor, is an artist, is so many things in one. And next week, Monday, Shegun Lawal will be here. Is the founder of Spirit of David, the dance group, talking to us about how to identify gifts in children and how to help them develop it. Once again, it's been awesome being with you today. I look forward to having you with me again next week, Monday, as we continue in this journey of parenthood, particularly in celebration of fathers. So until next week, Monday, don't forget it. If you can think it, you can be it, you can do it. And always together we win. God bless you. See you next week, Monday. Bye for now. Yeah.